Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and off the back of some very exciting news this morning, Shane Duffy has officially signed for Celtic on a year-long loan deal. So that gets me thinking, what is Celtic's best 11 now? I think we're almost complete. There's definitely places we can improve on. I think the board still have a little bit of business to do, but in general, we're basically complete. I'm very happy with how the squad lies just now, and as I said, it's getting me thinking, what is the best 11 we've got at Celtic now? We've been talking about 3-5-2s and 4-2-3-1s and two men up front and all this different carry on, but what is the best 11 we've got at the moment? We'll find out after the intro. Before I go any further, let me just get it off my chest very quickly, right? This is subject to opinion. I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments who disagree with me. I know a lot of people have their own opinions on what is the best 11. This is just mine, and it says that in the title of the video. This is my opinion of what the best 11 is. If you have a difference in opinion, let me know in the comments below. Let me think your favourite 11 is, your best 11. What you would start when we return from this international break. But for me, this is what we should be rolling with, and what I'm looking forward to seeing when we play Ross County in our next league match. It's such exciting times now to be a Celtic fan. I know we're off the back of a stinking couple weeks, you know, it's been horrid, knocked out of Europe, some sluggish football, some tactical persistence that proved to be on the wrong side of things. There's a lot of positives, a lot of negatives over the last few weeks, but in terms of the transfer window, this is the best window we've had in a long time. I know we've still got a year to go. For all we know, this transfer window could produce a bunch of duds. We never know. But right now, on paper, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Very quickly, my opinions on Duffy's signing I'll wrap up in the space of a minute, because I've spoken enough about Shane Duffy. I spoke when he was first linked, when the rumours got a little bit deeper, when there looked to be something happening there. I gave all my opinions, so I don't need to rehash it all. I don't need to give you it all back, but this is a signing we've been looking for years. You know, we've needed a player like this. It's as I've said before, a no-nonsense centre-back is exactly what Celtic have been looking for. Julian and Ajer, love them, I do. Great partnership, but they needed somebody like that beside them. They need somebody like that to learn from. They need somebody who's going to be there to clean up. And sometimes they get that wrong. You've seen Julian against Kilmarnock, the way he lunged in, gave away a penalty. You've seen Abdelhamid against Ferencvaros, you know, he should have lunged in, never. And Ajer can sometimes make a right hash of things too. So it's a sign I'm looking forward to making. Well, now that we've made it, I'm looking forward to seeing. And I think it's got the potential to be one of the best signings we've made in a long time. Ultimately, in this window, he's the one I'm looking forward to the most. As much as I've been buzzing about Ajeti, and Ajeti's got 2 goals, I think Duffy is, like, at the start of the window, if you were to pick anybody who you could realistically sign, he'd have been right up there if the name was thrown out at the start, so very happy with it. But let's get on to what I think is the best 11 for Celtic. Right, only one place to start, in between the sticks. Who am I picking there? I think it's quite obvious. It's Barkas. Vasilis Barkas signing for £5 million right at the start of the transfer window after the loss of Fraser Forster. You spend £5 million, the keeper, he's not going to do anything else but start the games for you. And he's hardly got much competition in Polo Mintson's Scott Bain. So he goes right in the start 11 for me. I've liked what we've seen of him so far. I think he looks really confident. I think he's got to be better at commanding the area than what Forster was, but we're early doors yet. We don't know what we're going to get. Chris Commons coming out and critiquing him in a negative manner, absolute nonsense, and just another example of how Chris Commons is dying to keep a hold of attention and keep himself relevant in the media. And in the world of Celtic, look, shut up, a back three, of course it is. I'm giving away what I'm playing already. There's only one way to go, and we all know it. We've all seen it. We've all argued with Neil Lennon through Twitter and through the cameras and through the screens. We need to play the 3-5-2. It's what works. We were scoring a barrel load of goals from January onwards last season, and we've struggled with one up top for the start of this season. As soon as Ajeti and Kamala were playing together against Motherwell at the weekend, it was fantastic. So of course I'm going to be going for the 3-5-2. A lot of people might actually differ from my selections around the park today, and this is where it can start. So I'm going to go for a back three of starting Shane Duffy. Of course, I think he's going to be the one that probably sits the deepest of the three at all times. He obviously probably come up for a corner. I think we'll be wasting those chances. But I don't see him doing what Ajer does and getting forward with the ball. I think he's there purely for defensive matters. As I said at the start of the video, no nonsense. Cut the crap. Flying in. Probably a few cheese slices for him here and there. Christopher Ajer, the ball playing of the three, the one who likes to move with the ball, and the one who I think could fill the void of someone I'm going to be taking out the middle of the park if needs so. Christopher Ajer, of course, started his career as, I think it was a striker in fact, then he was a centre mid for the majority of his unders career, and now he's a centre half at Celtic, where he's done a good enough job. I'm a big fan of Christopher Ajer, and this is assuming that we do keep him until the end of the window. Of course, there is the potential the likes of him and Cham leave the club, but I think he is going to stay. I don't see too many indications towards him leaving. Of course, we had his agent go and get an evaluation to try and get him moves elsewhere, but there's been no much talk. Still a long way to go though, and that could change. But for me right now, Ajer stays in. He's the one who likes to move with the ball, as I said. Pings a good pass. Good at defending as well, he needs. So he's got to be in there for me. And finally, big Julian. Now, a lot of people will be saying that I'm leaving out the likes of Ahmed, Beaton when they've been playing well, and yes, they have been playing well, and that's good. We now have depth in those positions, and if we do switch to a flat back four, we've got more options. You know, if we say play Duffy and Ajer at centre half, you're looking at Julian. That's just an example. You're looking at Julian, Ahmed, and Beaton, who are three backup centre half, first team centre halves, and then you've got the younger guys as well behind them. So right now we find ourselves in a good position for the first time in a long time. Because Simunovic wasn't really fancied by the fans, let's be quite honest. It was good we had him there for the depth, wasn't too fancied by the fans. But Julian comes in for me. You know, he was a player, he was, you know, in the team of the year last season. Scores a goal when you need him to in the big moments. Scored a cracker against Motherwell, looked like he was a striker. And there's no place for him to lose, I don't think. I think if anybody was to get dropped from that back three for me, it would be Ajer. So Julian and Duffy are certains for me. And ultimately, once again, you know, if he bucks up his ideas and he doesn't let these physical guys pull him around the park, it's an easy pick. The wing backs, this is where it gets this is where we start to get interesting, because a lot of people are saying, do you play Forrest? Do you play El Yunusi? Do you play Taylor? Do you play Frimpong? Do you play Abdel Ahmed, who can also play on the right? For me, on the right hand side, there is only one option, it's Jeremy Frimpong. Now, James Forrest did pull himself back in the weekend and get a goal, prove a lot of people wrong. But I still think that, you know, if we're going to switch to this system, you've got to go with the players who are playing the best, and that is Frimpong at the minute. For Pete's sake, a lot of people are talking about Frimpong being converted into a right winger. He can do it going forward. He needs to work on going back though. Defensively, yes, I've said, like, the tackle he put in against Ferencváros, absolutely tremendous, unbelievable, but there's been too many examples over the past year Frimpong has been caught out defensively, and I don't think he'll be the answer on the right hand side for European games, but definitely domestically, he's a man who can break down those teams who sit deep. He's a man who helps us when we struggle with ideas to get in and about these teams. So Frimpong has to be on that right hand side domestically for me. On the left hand side, I'm going for Greg Taylor. Now, I know that is probably gone down probably quite sour with a lot of people watching. I think a lot of people were saying, no, let's bring in a replacement, let's do this. And we might. We've still got to the end of the window to make signings, and I think a left back is a position we should touch on. Who have we got now? Because Bolingoli should be nowhere near the Celtic team. Greg Taylor is really our only good option. Johnny Hayes is gone. I suppose in this formation you can try El Yunusi there, but if you're wanting defensive ability, you're not going to get that with Mohamed El Yunusi. So we do need to improve. For me right now, it's Taylor. I don't think that we should risk playing El Yunusi in that position, because if we get caught out that left hand side, you're not looking at exactly the three fastest centre halves to go and cover that area. And Ajer's a right-sided centre half, so he's not going to be over that side of the park. Julian's not that fast. If he's playing against, you know, the wingers who are going to be tearing him apart. For me, it's got to be Taylor on that left-hand side, and that completes the kind of back five for me. In the middle, this is where the controversy may begin. Let me get it out of the way right now. Olivier Cham starts. Don't care. If he wants to leave, don't care. He's got to start. He's one of the best players at the club, and every chance that he gets taken away from him, we just see how much it annoys the fans. Cham's got to be in there. He's got to be. As simple as that. And I don't know quite what role that would be in. I have to give my other two picks first before I discuss the roles, but he's definitely in the starting lineup for me. And then beside him, this might sound weird to you, I'm going to say David Turnbull. Now, a lot of people went, what are you having? I'm really excited to see what Turnbull can do. And I think that, you know, if you're playing him there, you have a chance to kind of add to his game. At Motherwell, he was very much the attacking sort of central midfielder, creating chances. The game ran through him, and especially at the start of this season, you've seen that. He was the one dictating games for Motherwell. But if you move him back a wee bit, play him beside Cham, for me, he picks up a lot more to his game. He learns a lot more in the defensive role, and there's no chance whatsoever David Turnbull has no idea on how to defend. He'll have that there. He's probably not just had that opportunity at Motherwell to show it as much, but I think he'd be fine. And I want to see him in there. And you'll be saying to yourself, Ryan, does this mean you have dropped Brown after all those times of saying it? Oh, they'll never drop Brown. Lennon will never drop Brown. I still don't think Lennon will drop Brown. This video is all about what I think the best 11 is. And on current form, Brown is not in that 11. Now, I know on the Talk Scottish Football podcast, I said Brown would be player of the year. Maybe I was sniffing something, I don't know. But for me, based on current form, Brown doesn't get in this 11. And for me, Turnbull and Cham go in. Turnbull started the season fantastic at Motherwell. Despite their rancid start to the season, Turnbull was the player who turned up week in, week out for them. He was trying his best. He makes chances out of nothing. And then in front of those two, I'm going Callum McGregor. Now, this is what the luxury comes into play here. If you have McGregor in front of those two, there's always the chance for McGregor and Turnbull to switch roles, whenever need be. If someone's struggling or whatever, those two switch. Because Turnbull is comfortable in that role. McGregor is also comfortable in that role. And then McGregor's comfortable in the role behind. You know what, I might actually just change it altogether. The reason I have McGregor up there in front of those two is because I love seeing him as the creative midfielder. I love seeing him in that kind of number 10 role. We've seen the damage he could do to big teams. We've seen him score goals at Hampden for fun. He scored against Rangers a couple of times. Scored in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. Scored in the Europa League last 32 against Zenit St Petersburg. The man knows how to get in and about them. But he's been suffocated of that by being dropped so deep in this sort of new role from under Neil Lennon. And I'm not the biggest fan of it. So I would personally move him up ahead of those two. But as I said, because McGregor's been so used to that role for that role for the last sort of 18 months, he can drop in there when need be if Turnbull is struggling and we want to move Turnbull up the park, or we just kind of want to keep opposition guessing. I like the idea of those three in the middle. And then the two up top, is there really much I need to say? Edouard and Ayeti, you know it fine well. I think that those two are going to be marvellous together. Ayeti's got 2 and 2 now. Edouard is Edouard. Not much else to say. I think they will complement each other nicely. I think both of them have different styles of play that will go well. You know, you don't want two of the carbon copy players, because then it just kind of gets to the point where I think egos might collide. You don't want two players who are far too different that they just don't gel. You've got two players who I think will do well there. Ayeti looks like the kind of man who's got to find himself in those spaces. You know, we've seen the goal against Motherwell, the way he was open, had a very easy shot and goal, got the goal. He found himself in the right position against Dundee United, got the goal. Edouard, the player who can use the ball at his feet, do marvellous things. I think he's fantastic with his back to the goal, and he's got a fantastic hold-up game. I think Ayeti's got a good hold-up game as well, and that is going to work well for those two. If you can get either one of those holding up the ball, the other player gets himself into a position, we might have goals galore with those two up front. If we could do it with Edouard and Griffiths, I am very confident we can do it with Edouard and Ayeti. I am excited. And that for me is Celtic's best 11. Of course, I'm not a footballer. Of course, I have no experience on the park. I'm not a manager either. Nothing that I say here has any sense of, fact. It's just my opinion. So go easy in the comments. Let me know what your best 11 is. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Shane Duffy up the road with us. Fantastic. See you all next time.